Hello friends, welcome to Let's Learn. Today we will discuss about George Orwell's 1984. 1984 is about totalitarianism. So now we have to understand what does it mean? What does totalitarianism mean? Totalitarianism or a totalitarian government is one that tries to control every aspect of human life. Even it tries to control what people think and what they believe, even their private life. They try to control uh, over human mind, and it tries to control even the private life of human being. So the human being are not allowed, even they are not allowed to spend their uh, life as per their own wish. That's why a totalitarian government is one that tries to control every aspect of human life, how people spend every minute of their time, even in private, who they can associate with, what they are allowed to say. It actually tries to control people's mind and whatever they think and all these things. A totalitarian government, that's why it tries to control what people think and what they believe. George Orwell was trying to give his readers a clear picture of what life would be like if a free country like England were under a totalitarian rule. So it is the novel is basically takes place in London, and George Orwell was trying to give his readers a clear picture of what life would be like if a free country like England were under totalitarian rule. So, if England were under a totalitarian rule, then how would be life there? It was his main actually motive to depict that picture, that how life would be in a free country like England if it were under totalitarian rule. 1984 takes place in London. The London in the book is a depressing place. There's never enough to food. The food is disgusting. There are not enough clothes, shoes. There was the the life of every human being was not going quite well. So there was poverty, and there are not enough clothes or shoes to wear, and there is not even enough food to eat. The food is even disgusting, and the most important thing is that the entire London city was in a dilapidated condition, but the buildings, the government buildings, they were in quite a good condition. There were some sort of war going on, though no one really understands what it's about. Rockets frequently explode in the streets and blow people to bits. Now, when the condition was in such, now they were thinking the worst part is that the government is always watching everything. What people do there. There were posters that Big Brother is watching you everywhere. So that's why there were posters everywhere that Big Brother is watching you. It means simply that the government is watching all the peoples all the time. There were posters that Big Brother is watching you. So it simply means that the government is watching all the people, all the citizens of that country, that what they are doing, where they are going. So the people are not allowed even to do what they want to do as per their own wish. So the government is watching them all the time. So there were closed circuit cameras, there were hidden cameras and microphones everywhere on the roads, and everywhere there were cameras and all microphones and all these things, just to capture what the people are doing here and there, so that no one can escape from the government rule. So the government was watching everything what the people were doing here and there everywhere. So they were not allowed to do anything as per their own ways, and even the people at their home, they are not allowed to watch TV what they want to watch as per their own wish. They are not allowed to watch their own TV program what they want to watch actually. So if they want to watch the TV, they have to switch on the TV and they have to basically play those programs, basically those government programs which they are they are allowed to watch. Otherwise, they can't watch anything else. If any person wants to do what they want to do freely and going against the government rule, they were captivated in jail, and even they are not allowed to fall in love with any person or any girl or any boy. They are not allowed even to fall in love with any person. So it was also even not allowed in the city. So they, the citizen, the people, normal people, they can't do anything freely. They were not allowed to do anything against the government rule. The main character of this novel 1984 is Winston Smith, and he is 39 years old. He has a job in the government bureaucracy and he lives without any friends or anyone because they were not allowed to live with any other or to think about anything else without the permission of the government. That's why at the beginning of the book he starts writing a diary. That means Winston Smith starts writing a diary and he writes how much he hates this life under the government rule, under the autocratic rule, under this totalitarianism. So even though writing a diary is one of those things you would be killed for doing if you were caught, the diary is his place for thinking about his society. It's a place where he tries to imagine if life could be possibly be different from the way it is. There's no way for him to know if things were even different because the government has changed all the records of the past and rewritten all the history books. So they are controlling everything. So a person basically doesn't have even that power to write a diary at home. If he were caught, if at the very beginning of the novel, there are also two other characters. One is Julia, and the other one is O'Brien. Julia is attractive young woman whom Winston basically hates her. He hates her because she is pretty good, beautiful, and Winston can't have her. But he also thinks she is the sort of person who would turn him into the thought police. So he's afraid of her because of one thing, that because he likes her but he can't have her because it is against the government rule. That's why he hates her. The book takes a turn one day when Julia slips Winston a note that says I love you. This note completely rocks Winston's world. Of course he is interested, he can't wait to get in touch with her, but it's very hard for him to say two words to each other even in private because of all these cameras and microphones everywhere. So they can't even love each other due to these cameras and mics everywhere because government, Big Brother is watching them everywhere. That means they are watching all the citizens everywhere. The love affair makes both of them very happy. There was also one character and his name was O'Brien, whom Winston Smith thought that basically O'Brien is also a rebellious person and he most probably also hates the government. And that's why he trusts O'Brien, and one day Winston goes to O'Brien to tell about to tell about all these things, that how much he hates government and all these things. But later on he came to know that O'Brien gives him a book to read. Later on O'Brien gives Winston a book to read and Winston reads these books, and then he was totally blown away by it because he came to know that it was O'Brien's plan to to capture him. Actually, he is not a rebellious person. O'Brien was actually working under the government. It was O'Brien's plan that O'Brien invited Winston Smith just to capture, just to catch, just to catch uh, Winston under their clutch, under the government's clutch. So later on, both of them, that means Winston and Julia, they were caught because of O'Brien, and the government tortured Winston, um, and after torturing him over and over, O'Brien finally tells Winston that what the government wants actually. So and they torture him. That means the big brother government, O'Brien, they torture Winston for the love affair with Julia, and for meeting with her privately for all these things, and they tell him to say 2 plus 2 equal to 5. They even tell him to say these wrong things, wrong logic, and he have and they tell him to do so, just to show that how much powerful government actually is. And they tortured him very brutally, and it was room 101 where they tortured. That means government, O'Brien was actually working under government, that's why they tortured him in room number 101. And after torturing for a long time, they basically leave both Julia and Winston Smith. Later on, Winston realized that it was his mistake that he trusted O'Brien, because he thought that O'Brien is most probably is also a rebellious person. That's why he trusted. But later on, he came to know that O'Brien was also working under the government. That's why they have tortured him a lot. And later on, he realized that it's absolutely not possible for him to go against the government. It will not be possible for him to express his own opinion that how much he hates this totalitarian government. And later on, he sits in a cafe, and both of them depart from each other. That means Julia and Winston, they depart from each other, and they never try to meet with each other forever. Winston and Julia, they were basically broken people. They were broken a lot. So the entire story in the end, Winston realizes that it was his mistake that he trusted O'Brien, and he thought that O'Brien most probably is also a rebellious person against the government. But he was also working under government, and that's why government, O'Brien, they have captured him, and they have tortured him a lot. And sitting in a cafe, he realizes that it's absolutely not possible for him to go against the government, and that's why in the end he says that that means Winston says that he loved Big Brother. So one of the points the book makes is that a human being can be broken down completely until he will believe whatever you tell him, even if it's that 2 plus 2 equal to 5. At the same time, the book has a positive message, which is that it's really hard to get inside someone's head to that extent. The government has to go to incredible lengths to brainwash Winston successfully. So the entire novel, that means 1984, written by George Orwell, it's about totalitarianism, where they tells that the autocracy rule of the government, and how this government even tries to control all the people, all the citizens of its country, and even their private life and all these things. And they actually try to show off their power. The government tries to show off their power. This was the entire story of 1984, written by George Orwell. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching.